Deputy Prime Minister of Sweden.
Bola.
Ulla.
Okay, bola mina. Bola mina. Bola mtonga. Sweden.
Obliging all member states to abide by scientific advice when it's the initiative of the small island states this conference and
the President of the UN General Assembly, I see him around here.
He will come.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Bulavinaka, and a very good afternoon to you all. Next June, Your Excellencies, the Community of Nations will gather in New York to address one of the greatest challenges the world has ever faced, the current threat to the health of our oceans and seas. The unrelenting degradation of this precious resource should be a matter of grave concern to every person on the planet. Certainly for a small island developing state such as Fiji, it is an issue almost as pressing as the extreme weather events and rising sea levels caused by climate change. Because the seas are our lifeblood, and without the bounty they provide us with on a daily basis, the health and well-being of our people, along with their livelihoods, is clearly at risk. I'm delighted to be here as Fiji and Sweden come together to highlight our joint hosting of the United Nations Conference on the Oceans next year. I want to begin by thanking the Swedish government for partnering with Fiji on this vitally important initiative, and to thank the Swedish mission at the UN for holding this event. I also appreciate the attendance of everyone else in this room and ask you all to do everything you can to promote the conference and draw global attention to the issues at stake. The urgent need to reverse the pollution, the overfishing, and the destruction of marine habitats that has reached crisis proportions in so many parts of the world. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, many of you may not know that my background is as a sailor and an officer in the Fijian Navy. The sea has been my life, and I have a huge affinity for it, as do most people who, in the words of the old psalm, go down to the sea in ships. I have witnessed the steady deterioration of our seas and oceans over the years with my own eyes, where once all our Pacific waters were pristine, now parts are clogged with plastic bags and bottles. Where once you could throw a line out over the side and be guaranteed a catch, often the fish are few and far between. Because in far too many instances, our waters have been stripped. The selfish commercial plunder of our seas by unscrupulous nations and unscrupulous interests is not only robbing our people of a precious resource. The current level of overfishing simply cannot continue for a moment longer without putting stocks at risk and destroying, of course, the source of food and income on which so many of our coastal communities depend. In addition, the dumping of rubbish at sea has also reached crisis proportions. In some instances, it is admittedly our own people who have yet to appreciate that they cannot use our pristine waters as a rubbish dump, and that most things they throw into the ocean are not biodegradable. And we are doing all we can to educate them. But there is nothing small Pacific Island nations can do about the huge deposits of refuse, and especially plastic bags and bottles that originate from countries on the Pacific Rim and are carried by the ocean currents into our own waters. By global standards, the waters around Fiji are still relatively unpolluted, and we want to keep it that way for ourselves and our international visitors. But I am deeply concerned about any further deterioration in the quality of the water around us from outside sources, and the overfishing that is taking place and is threatening the interests of every Fijian. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we have a wonderful chance next June to bring the nations together to formulate a more concerted and holistic response to saving our oceans and seas. This gathering is being described as a jewel in the crown of the 71st session, with thousands of people from around the world expected to converge on New York for 4 days from the 5th to the 9th of June. Fiji is naturally very proud to be co-hosting this event with our Swedish friends. It is a great honor for a small Pacific small island developing state to be given the task of doing so, and Fiji shares that honor with every Pacific islander. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, just as time is running out to address the challenges of climate change, time is running out to save our oceans and seas. We have 9 months to prepare for this landmark gathering, and I can urge the global community to do everything possible to make it a success. Because if we don't seize this opportunity to reverse the degradation of our seas and oceans, the old sailor in me very much believes that it may be too late. Thank you all for supporting Fiji and Sweden as we try to turn back the tide, and let's bring the rest of the world together in New York next June to do the same. Thank you. Bainimarama.
The Honourable Prime Minister of Fiji, the Deputy Prime Minister of Sweden, Under Secretary General Wu, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I'd first like to thank the co-hosts of the Ocean Conference, the governments of Sweden and Fiji, for their leadership on this issue and in driving preparations for what I have no doubt will be a historic conference. 1 year on from the adoption of the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, it is clear that more needs to be done to turn our global commitments into action. That is why we have made the principal objective for the 71st session a universal push to transform our world through meaningful progress in implementing all 17 SDGs. And in this context of this meeting, the Oceans Goal SDG 14. To reverse the tragic decline in the health and resources of our oceans, the conference must bring together key partners so that we can harness quickly and effectively the necessary knowledge, strategies, energy, economic resources and political will to drive implementation of SDG 14 forward. It's crucial, therefore, that all key stakeholders are represented and at highest levels. A trust fund has been established to accept voluntary contributions to help facilitate the participation of developing countries, particularly small island developing states and least developed countries. Generous contributions to the fund will be something that I will pursue actively as the President of the General Assembly. The conference itself will include 7 partnership dialogues that will focus on implementing the SDG 14 targets. Strategic partnerships will be vital to effective implementation, and work has already begun on forging these. There have been many successful oceans initiatives and processes established around the world, and the UN conference next June will bring together these efforts to coordinate the ultimate achievement of SDG 14. As the President of the General Assembly, I am 100% committed to ensuring success of this conference. I believe it will be the jewel in the crown of the 71st session. You may be assured that beginning with my address to open the general debate tomorrow morning, and at every available occasion between now and next June, I will be vocally promoting the importance of the SDG 14 conference. And I'm sure you'll all be glad to know that we've basically booked out the UN for those 5 days of Monday to Friday, 5 to 9 June. We've got the General Assembly Hall booked, we've got the Trusteeship Council booked, we've got the largest conference room, the Conference Room 4. We've got a host of ancillary rooms so that side events will be going on all the time. This will be 5 days where the world's attention will be brought, thanks to Sweden and Fiji, to the issue of supporting the implementation of SDG 14. So we must remember the interconnected nature of the SDGs, and I see one of the chairs of the group of friends of Oceans and Seas, the ambassador of Netherlands there, and he often makes this point, that there is an interconnected nature of all the SDGs, meaning the success of the Oceans Conference next year is also critical to driving broader momentum for all 17 of the Sustainable Development Goals. We have an integrated and we have a universal agenda. And let us not forget the importance of this agenda. It is the master plan for humanity's survival on this planet. Those of you that think of the welfare of your grandchildren must think of the attainment of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals as an absolute necessity for their survival. So that is how high the stakes are for what we are doing. I look forward to working with all of you and to supporting the two host countries, the governments of Sweden and Fiji, in our approach to what I have no doubt will be a game-changing event for the ocean's health. And I look forward to seeing all of you back here in New York in June 2017. Thank you very much.